qualities of an effective leader. There are several, guys, there are a ton of them, okay? There are a ton of them. But what we want to do is just focus on this 7. So as we dive into this, I want your minds to keep working and keep thinking about those people who you identified. And you think about your list, because the reason I want you to think about that is because it's not what we're doing here today, but it's 30 years from now when the next generations of impact is having their training session, and they say, well, who are some of the great leaders? Maybe some of your names can be mentioned in that room. And that's what we're trying to establish that today, to where a leader doesn't lead necessarily for that day, he leads for the future. He or she leads for the future. Martin Luther King and the people that you named, those mamas and grandmamas and all those people, they didn't know that their name would be written in history while they were doing what they were doing. So we can't serve in that state of mind. We got to serve that somebody's going to remember me down the road. Does that make sense? Amen. So when we talk about, I said to this earlier, how many ears do you have? And let me pause, and I'm not sorry, I'm also apologetic for my tone, okay? Like I told you, this is Trainer Wesley. This is Trainer Wesley, so right now I feel like I'm at work. So when people have side conversations while somebody else is talking, I know that negatively impacts other people. So that's what made me come at you in that way. So I'm sorry, not for what you did, but I'm sorry for my tone. Amen? Amen. All right. So I'm not saying that you won't hear it again. I'll just apologize again, you know? Yeah, so you just know what it is. I ain't mad at you. I love you. That's why I sound like that. But when we go through this, how many ears do you have? 2. How many mouths do you have? 1. Think about if some of y'all really had 2 mouths. So when we say the ability to listen, right? An effective leader, the biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, we listen to reply. As some of us are listening, we're thinking about what we gonna say versus processing what has been said. And we have what's called that conversation collision. You know, have you ever been talking to somebody and you say something and they take it left and you're like, well, no, that's not what I said. Because in their mind, if it felt defensive, they've attached to that emotion. If they feel insulted, if they feel threatened, they've attached to those emotions, and their mind has started working on what I'm going to say to you, what I'm going to tell you, versus listening. And some of us do that. All of us do that. All of us have done it because it's natural reactions. But what we have to do, if you look at this screen, so listen to me, my sons, pay attention to my words. Proverbs 7:24. We have those individuals to where, as leaders, we can't be walking with the headphones on and the music playing and not paying attention to the dangers. Because what I can't see behind me, another leader can. So it's important for me not just to listen to my ministry, I got to listen to my other leaders. We should be so in sync in hearing each other that it's comfortable. Does that make sense? That is comfortable, meaning that I'm so in sync with my brother that his criticism is comfortable. His correction is comfortable because I know where it's coming from. Does that make sense? To where as a leader, what sense does it make to be on a team together, practice together, and not perform in the same manner? Like, that's just wasting everybody's time. So if we're operating in this space, we got to be able to do it from a place that's comfortable. Everybody say comfortable. So when we're listening to each other, we have to be able to have the ability to communicate effectively. Number 2, communicate effectively. Clear communication, clear expectations plus clear communication equals a clear outcome. Meaning, before we jumped into this training, we set expectations. Like, these are the objectives. This is what I hope for you to learn. When we went through that slide that said E, we were setting those expectations, because if we set the expectation, now I can communicate with you. Think about it in the form of a GPS. When, like, I would say to my friends all the time, I don't mind riding with you. I just need to know where we're going. I mean, I'll roll with you. I mean, I just want to know where we're going. Because if I know where I'm going with you, I'm more inclined to pay attention to what we're doing. But have you ever been in that situation to where you've been blindsided because somebody just didn't set the expectation to where they told you to go somewhere with them and you're like, why you ain't tell me they was going to be there? You got to tell me that. Just set those expectations. You feel better knowing the expectations. So think about that in the realm of your ministries, okay? To where tell your group where you going. Meaning, where are we going in the next 6 months? Where are we going for the rest of 2017? Where are we going into 2018? Because once they know where you're going, now we can have some clear communication on how we're going to get there. Does that make sense? So, number 3, demonstrate integrity. Everybody say integrity. Integrity is one of those things to where I don't necessarily do it for me. All right, this is my perception, right? I would always say, like when coming up, and people say, it's certain things that I do, and it's certain things that I won't do. And some of the things that I won't do necessarily is not tied to me directly as far as my level of respect for myself, but it's certain things I don't do out of other people's respect for me. You know what I mean? It's like, because, there's some things come to myself, like, I don't really, like, it wouldn't bother me if I did it. But I know that it may bother somebody else, so I have enough respect for the respect that they have for me. So that's kind of my insight into integrity, meaning that I don't want to, like, if Walter sees me a certain way, I don't want to diminish that for Walter. So when you think about in your groups, right, that level, integrity is choosing courage over comfort. Because sometimes, like, you're going to have to stand when nobody else wants to stand. You may have your administrator with, no, let's just do this. Let's just do this. And he said, well, that's not in line with the vision of the church. It doesn't make it a bad idea. It's just not in line. And you can't just go along with it knowing that it's not in line, knowing that it's not going to benefit, knowing that it's not about discipleship, knowing that it's not about equipping, knowing that it's not about transforming lives to transform a generation. If it ain't got nothing to do with that, then why are we doing it? When we look at choosing what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy, it's a lot of stuff that's fun, fast, and easy. But that don't make it right for what we trying to do. Does that make sense? It doesn't make it necessarily make those things bad. You got to look at in connection to what you're trying to do. To say, if we're trying to push this ministry and go forward, I need to make sure I may have to go over these 2 hurdles versus going around this quick curve to get the best impact that we need. Make sense? You picking up what I'm putting down? You smelling what I'm stepping in? All right. So when we look at practice our values rather than simply professing them, it's one of those things. If you say that you're humble, typically you're not. Like, you shouldn't say that you're humble. People should tell you, look at that humble person. So it's like our values and mission to where you shouldn't have to say, yeah, I'm out here transforming lives. Where the lives at? Like, the proof is in the pudding, and I'm ready to taste some. So it's like, well, it's certain things to where our values as leaders, you don't have to say, you should just demonstrate to those characteristics that people, because the leadership that we called out, do you think those people were saying that? Do you think mamas and grandmamas was like, I'm mama. I'm the best grandmama around here. It's that mindset of just knowing that I just got to do it. My actions shall lead to what I want people to see, not just my words. All right? Integrity is God-like. Life is consistency. Life's consistency and sincerity. Integrity is not reputation, others' opinion of us. People are so worried about what they gonna say. What they gonna say. In what we're trying to do, you're gonna have a lot of they-sayers and naysayers. Explain the difference. When people come to you, they say it, you know what they saying, No, I don't, because I don't know Dave. Just shut that stuff down. Then you have the naysayers. You ain't going to be able to do that. Y'all trying to build that in how long? What you looking at your watch for? What they got to do anything? It's people, people going to try to approach you and approach us in that way, and we can't allow our integrity to be driven by their opinion. We got to stand strong on what it is, our vision, no matter what's happening on the side. Give you the mindset of a parade horse. When a new parade horse, and they're trying to get this horse broken for the parade, they put blinders on it. Because the horse, when it's a new parade horse, is easily distracted. And you got moon pies and cups and bees, and the horse want to look. And if the horse turns too much or too fast, it can throw the ride off. So they put blinders on the horse, so the horse can't see the crowd and all that's on the side. The horse just sees straight ahead. So why some of us are new horses in leadership, we need to put some blinders on so we don't get distracted by all the other stuff that's going around on the outside. Amen? 4, empathy. Everybody say empathy. Simply the ability to step in someone else's shoes. Empathy. In this role as leaders, you have to be able to show empathy to the people that's in your ministry. You can't care. The scripture tells us that charity begins at home. Like, it starts in your ministry. You can't say your ministry is a part of outreach and y'all ain't reached out to each other. Come on. We just tell folks in our church and say, okay, yeah, I'm a missionary, but you missing in every area. So how you this? Right? So when we say that, that we these things, we got to be that for each other. You got to be loving towards each other. You have to show that means, how's your family? How's the sports going? How's your daughter? How's your son? Oh, you sick? I just want to check on you. Do you need anything? I'm so sorry to hear that. When they hurt, we hurt. That empathy, because if we can create that in the house, it can't help but to flow outside the house. Amen. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. Completely coming out of yourself. My most recent example of that was Beaumont. We went down to Beaumont with about 5 or 6 people from here, and we had to get volunteers there. We went to a place where the volunteers were the people who were the people that we were going to help. We went to a place where the volunteers were the same people that we went to go help. We went to a place where the volunteers, the people who were carrying the water, serving the food, with smiles on their faces, were the same people with nothing, no house, no water, no clothes, but they had a heart to serve. So when you step out of yourself, it's gratifying to be able to see. Let me see through your eyes. Help me, when people say, just help me see it. When you explain it to a person, help me. I want to hear it how you hear it. I want to feel how you feel. Does it make sense? Yeah. Number 5, humility. Humility. A man can counterfeit love, counterfeit faith, counterfeit hope, but it's very difficult to counterfeit humility. Because when you get that internal thing, right? When you're just grateful to be grateful, to where your ministries have to feel your humility. Your ministries, because if you feel like your ministry is the backbone of the church, then you're wrong. Your ministry is just a part of the body. You can't plant seeds of, if it ain't for us, this thing wouldn't float. Yes, it would. If we wasn't here, this ship wouldn't roll. Yes, we would. You got to have that humility amongst your ministry to say, if it wasn't for us, God wouldn't be, we here to please God. We are part of the body. Planting those things, that sense of ownership to your role within the body, not trying to own a piece of the building. This our room. this our space. No, it ain't. It's our space that he has given us to occupy. So it's knowing what, what we're saying. One of the things that I try to always say different. I don't say, God, when you give me my church. It's God, when you give me my assignment. My assignment, because the assignment can change. Like, it can change. So, like, God, don't say that it's your ministry. This my man's ministry. This my woman's ministry. No, this is the assignment that God has given me. And because of that, I have responsibility and accountability to that assignment. Pride is connected with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. And sometimes our pride will lead us down the wrong direction. So we have to make sure that we're not being prideful in what we're doing. Number 6, make it your mission to inspire others. Good leaders exude passion and confidence. They know the right words to say because they come from the heart. When you talk about motivation, to where your ministry ought to get excited to hear you. To where if you're a leader over that ministry, they ought to, when something's going wrong, they ought to be excited to call you. Knowing that, like, okay, you're going to pray for me. You're going to do this. You're going to give me the word that I need. Not telling you because they feel like you're going to bring more drama to the situation that they're trying to tell you about. So when you look at as a leader, the ability to build confidence. If you're not confident in your ministry, then you're not a leader. And not just because it's like this. You can be confident in the spirit of a person before you even be confident in their ability. Meaning that I may not know if you can do the task, but I'm confident in your heart of wanting to do it. You know what I mean? To where, because a person, we can teach you the skill. We can get you to that place, but if you don't even have the heart to want to do it, so you have to motivate people with like, yes, I see your passion. I see that you want to be a part of this ministry. Thank you for that. Now let's teach you how to do it right. Number 7, everybody say lead by example. People may doubt what you say, but they will believe what you do. Simple as that, to where I can't, if the people that you're over never see you do or have done the task that you're asking them to do, you discredit yourself. Does that make sense? To where if you're telling them, I need you to be at this outreach serving people, and they never see you pick up the spoon, or they see you come in late, or they see you standing on the wall. We got to be there, though. We got to be there. You telling them, you're getting them all excited. You're doing that. Hey, we got to be at this outreach. You got to be there at a certain time, and you show up late. So you just got to think about that example, meaning that they will follow what they see you do. Think about it. I mean, just like with children, to where children only mimic what they see. They sound like what they hear. So when you think about that, your people that are under you should mimic you. It should be proof of their occupation. To where, if a person work on cars and his fingers clean, I don't know how much car you working on. You know what I'm saying? A person say they cut grass and you don't smell like outside. Like it's a part, you should look like if you're a part of this thing, it should be some remnants of you there. Does that make sense?